In Activity 3, Temperature Changes, students observe changes in air temperature and discover the role of the sun in heating Earth. Students first record outdoor air temperature at 3 different times of day for a period of 5 days. They then discuss the role of the sun in heating Earth, and finally conclude that changes in air temperature are caused by changes in the amount of sunlight that reaches Earth. You will need the following materials from the kit: Activity Sheet 3, Parts A and B, rulers, dual scale thermometers, foam cups, temperature graph chart, and a roll of masking tape. You will also need to provide red pencils, 2-liter container, black marker, and tap water. To prepare for Session 1, make a copy of Activity Sheet 3, Part A for each student. Start the session early in the morning so that students can take their first temperature reading as close to 9 a.m. as possible. For this session, each student will also need a thermometer. To begin Session 1, review the definition of temperature as a measure of how hot or cold something is. Ask students, what causes the temperature of a substance to increase or decrease? Students should respond that temperature changes are caused by an increase or decrease in heat. Distribute a copy of Activity Sheet 3, Part A, and a thermometer to each student, and review with the class how to use a thermometer. Then, bring the students outdoors and instruct them to place their thermometers in the shade and out of the wind to measure the temperature of the air. After 3 minutes, students should make a temperature reading and record the readings, in both Fahrenheit and Celsius, on the chart on the activity sheet. To conclude Session 1, repeat the temperature readings 3 times a day, in the morning, at noontime, and late in the afternoon, on each of the next 5 days. To prepare for Session 2, make a copy of Activity Sheet 3, Part B for each student. Note that this session should be done on a sunny day. Find a place indoors, preferably in the classroom, where students can leave cups of water in direct sunlight for about 20 minutes. If direct sunlight is not available, a strong desk lamp will also work. Next, fill a 2-liter container with tap water and let it sit out long enough to achieve room temperature. Each student will need a thermometer, a ruler, a red pencil, and his or her completed activity sheet from Session 1, and each team of 2 will need a foam cup filled with room temperature water. For Session 2, you will need the temperature graph chart, a black marker, a ruler, and some tape. To begin Session 2, discuss the students' findings at the end of the 5th day and record the average temperature readings for the class in a chart on the board. Ask students, what do you notice about the temperature on the past 5 days? Students should have noticed that the temperature changed. Next, tape the temperature graph chart to the board and distribute a copy of Activity Sheet 3, Part B, a ruler, and a red pencil to each student. Using a marker and a ruler, demonstrate how to make a bar graph. First, look at each day and time, then draw a line at the correct number and color in the bar up to the line. Then, have students create their own bar graphs. When they have finished, ask students, what happened to the air temperature over the course of each day? Students should have observed that in general, the temperature increased over the course of the morning and decreased over the course of the afternoon. Then ask, at what time of day was the outdoor air temperature highest? Students should respond that the temperature was usually the highest in the early afternoon. Ask students, what do you think caused the temperature to change over the course of the day? Students may guess that the sun had something to do with the temperature changes. Accept all reasonable answers. Instruct students to look at their thermometers and note the temperature of the room. Then, distribute a cup of water to each team of 2 and have the students measure the temperature of the water. Students should discover that the temperature of the water is the same as the temperature of the air in the room, or around 65 degrees to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. Then, tell students to place their cups, without the thermometers, on a sunny windowsill. After 20 minutes have passed, students should retrieve their cups and measure the water temperature again. Students should observe that the water temperature has increased. Ask students, what made the water temperature increase? Explain that the sun is the main source of heat for Earth, and that the Earth is hottest when the sun is highest in the sky, around midday, and then begins to cool as the sun sets. Ask students, if you were to continue taking temperature readings every day for a year, what do you think your graphs would tell you? Help students understand that the temperature readings could increase or decrease dramatically throughout the year, depending on the season and location. Answers should reflect the fact that temperatures are generally warmest in summer and coldest in winter, but that despite the season, temperatures generally increase in the morning, are highest around midday, decrease in the afternoon, and are lowest at night. Finally, inform students that in Activity 4, they will learn how temperature causes changes in weather. To conclude Session 2, discard the water in the cups, dry the cups and return them, along with the thermometers and the rulers, to the kit. For science background, reinforcement activities, curriculum connections, and information about the Delta Science Reader, please consult your DSM Teacher's Guide.